It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Good morning. Happy Monday to you. It's a little bit wet here in the capital of New Providence, but listen, blessed rain, blessed Monday.
Yeah,
I'm full of
blessing.
sun.
Blessings of showers. Showers of blessings, right?
Yes,
Liquid
showers of
sunshine is what
blessings.
they call it. We'll hear more about what's happening with the weather from Godfrey in just a minute. But before that, we want to introduce you to a wonderful show. So good to have Phil back with me. Missed him on Friday.
Yeah, I was off, doing my extracurricular junior achievement thing. We had a Summit of the Americas over there in Miami, representing about 31 countries. So we had the
Excellent.
directors, we had chairmen, we had the CEOs come on down. We talk about, well, how do we make this program better? So every once in a while we do that stuff, and it was really good.
That's
It was
good,
really, really
that's
good.
good.
But listen, I want to say thank you to all of those people
Yep, yep.
that would have responded to, I guess the publicization of my surgery.
Right.
And I never got a chance to really speak about it when I came back. But Diane Phillips, oh my goodness, she's such a good friend, very persistent. She thought that it was something that people should know.
Okay.
And I kind of underestimated the power of the media there. Every few steps I took, somebody would be like, oh my goodness, we're so sorry.
Yeah.
Friends were calling, they say, oh, we didn't know you were sick. And I'm like, well, I wasn't exactly sick, but I was kind of dying,
He wasn't sick, but he was dying. What a time, right? No, but seriously, a lot of people came to me, and I guess as your co-host, people felt I was burdened down by this, and so they said, we're just so sorry about Phil. I said, Phil's good. There was a point there where we were very nervous, but prayer is wonderful,
Absolutely.
and he had excellent medical care, and
Absolutely.
I think that makes a difference, right? And this is
Absolutely
why
makes a
I guess I get passionate about medical care because so many people just don't have access.
Right, and one of the points that came up, I mean, there were hundreds of comments, obviously. The overwhelming majority positive. There were a couple on there that raised some eyebrows, kind of smiled at it. But one of the things that I'm intimately aware of the fact that not everybody has the opportunity to take advantage of insurance. It literally just drives me crazy because obviously I'm affected by that too because I have family members, et cetera, that don't have the same opportunity. And that's something that we need to fix. So somehow we need to figure out this discussion related to national health insurance because I think it's a right.
Yeah.
I think it's a right.
It is a right.
Yeah.
It is a right. It is definitely a right for us to be able to try to live our best, our healthiest lives.
no doubt
We each
about
have
it.
so much to contribute, and of course, you come here, you contribute every Monday and Friday. You contribute to this national picture
Yeah.
overall through junior achievement and
Right.
so many other things. And to have lost, you would have been a great loss to the nation.
Oh,
but we
thank you.
lose so many. It's true.
Yeah.
But we lose so many people every day
Right.
because they just don't have the access.
Right.
So
Right.
happy that your story has impacted
Listen,
lives.
yeah, it
and that's not the
apparently
only one
has.
that's
Everybody's
going
gonna go do
around.
their
That's not
physical.
the only one that's going around. There's another young lady that writes a blog called Blank Notes, and she's also featuring you
That's
this
right.
month.
Asleen Blank,
Yeah.
right out there from Fox Hill. Pleasant young lady. I was so impressed with her. She called, she texted, I'm like, who is this person? What are you talking about, Blank Notes? But when I sat down with her, I'm like, man, this is what it's all about, So
Yeah.
now I'm hooking up with somebody else, and I say, this is how you do it. Just pay it forward.
Okay.
And whenever you get somebody to interview, make sure that they mention somebody else.
Okay.
But on the flip side of that note, I want to send condolences out again
Again.
to the families of the persons who would have been killed, who would have
Yeah.
died. Man, we just got to get this thing under control. We got to get it tight. It just drives us crazy the way that
Yeah.
we kind of just kill each other.
Yeah, so we have to do better at that. In one instance, we had Phil, who we're grateful for, and is grateful that he was able to come through that. and in the other instance, we're taking lives, whether by driving in a way that's not effective or by killing people. So we really want to be careful out there. Want to encourage you to make this a safe Monday. We know we've had a bit of a banter this morning, but we're going to get right into it. We have a wonderful show lined up for you, so we want you to stay with us.
Definitely. We have the GGYA is in the house. That's another one of those just excellent program. You know, I rant and rave about junior achievement all the time, but I can do the exact same thing about the Governor General's Youth Awards. The Caribbean Awards Sub-Regional Council Adventurers are here, and they're going to be going down to the island, eh?
Yes, they will be. They will be indeed. And in addition to that, we also going to be talking with Rupert Pinder on the economy. Looking forward to this conversation. Certainly last week we would have heard the statistics on labor and some interesting stuff happening there. I'm going to talk to Rupert about that. Also talk to him generally about what's happening with VAT and whether or not the economy is in a place where it needs to be. So looking forward to that conversation.
Well, we know it's not, but you know.
Are we on the right track? You know, and so it's going to be good to get Rupert's opinion on that. In addition to that, the team traveled to Grand Bahama recently to learn about some land deals there. Good morning to all of my Grand Bahama people. Y'all know how I feel. Y'all know how I feel about Grand Bahama. So we're going to be looking at that. We want you to stay tuned for that. And then you might have remembered about a week ago, Phil spoke with an amazing guy doing some revolutionary.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Garvin Gaskins. We're going to have the second part of that interview with, I think, a very impressive young man and a very important role.
Yeah, so we've got all of that ahead for you and more. But first, we're going to take a look at weather, find out from Godfrey, as Mark would say, if it's going to be dead vet for the rest of the week, or if we can expect some sunshine to come through those clouds. Here he is, Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Star, and good morning, Bahamas. And your first look at weather at sunrise. Surface shower shows that we have mid-up off just to the northwest of Grand Bahama and Bimini. It's been persistent over the last several days, triggering off showers and thunderstorms, particularly across the northwest Bahamas. And we have to the south of us, moving towards the northwest, an upper level low that should affect the islands sometime later in the week. But for the most part, in your satellite pitching, I can see a lot of clouds over the northwest and central Bahamas. Some showers happening right here at the studio at this point in time also. So it'll look like a wet commute this morning for us. You take your kids to school. Weather day, mix of sun and clouds, more clouds than sun, but breezy, with a few scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms, high temperature 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy, still a bit breezy, with a few late night or early morning showers possible, and possible thunderstorms. Your low temperature going down to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And some region highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados, 82 and 76. In Jamaica, 85 and 72. In Trinidad, 82 and 75. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 91 and 77. Across North America, Atlanta, 85 and 73. In Raleigh, 82 and 71. In Miami, 91 and 79. Dallas, Texas, 92 and 80. And Toronto, Canada, 76 and 63. As we go into the week, troughing will still stay to northwest of the islands, struggling some showers and thunderstorms through Tuesday into Wednesday. Little clearing by Thursday into Friday, and then again we have some more moisture moving into the area that will cause some showers and thunderstorms for next weekend. Temperature daytime will continue to be in the low 90s at daytime, at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts you up in your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Listen, we are very pleased and privileged and happy to be joined in the studio this morning by representatives of the Governor General's Youth Award. We have Jaquetta Maycock. She is the CASC 2018 Expedition Leader. All the way from where?
I'm actually locally grown.
I know you're locally grown. I was going to say, which?
I grew up on Eleuthera.
Okay, all right.
And I left Eleuthera to come to the College of the Bahamas at the time. That's what it was. Now University of the Bahamas.
Yep.
And I've been here since then.
You've been here since then.
I'm really locally.
She's a Lutra gal.
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, she's the expedition leader from the Bahamas. And we have youth representatives Jamar Odwin, who is the Americas Region Emerging Leader from Barbados. Welcome to the Bahamas, Jamar.
Thank you.
And we have Karan Henry, all the way from deep south, Guyana. Good morning. Welcome to the Bahamas. First time here?
Yeah, first.
First time here. So, Chiquita, the Bahamas has hosted this particular part of GGYA for, I think, about 4 or 5 different times. And you would have actually participated in 2 or 3 of them?
At different levels.
Yeah.
So as a participant, I would have had the opportunity to attend we have an annual national expedition.
Right.
Most of our participants that enroll in the award have an opportunity to participate through our annual national expedition. CASC happens or occurs at a different Caribbean country around the region. Typically it started once every 10 years. We've been fortunate in Bahamas to have hosted in less time for about 3 of those. I think this would be our third CASC. Yes, we had previously hosted in 2012.
Right. So just really quickly, in summary, kind of just tell us what exactly is it? What's the expedition all about?
Well, the award program, just worldwide, has 4 components. Participants have to be involved in a service, a skill, a physical recreation, and the last component is an adventurous journey. So CASC caters to the adventurous journey section only. And it allows an opportunity for adventure and challenge in a different Caribbean country with young people of varying ages, but still within this, at the gold level, to engage in the adventurous journey.
I tell you, adventures all over. I mean, you've gone to the Blue Mountains in the past. I've been reading up on
Yes.
this. But this year, we're in the Bahamas, and we're going where?
Cat
We're
Island.
going to Cat Island. All right, going to Cat Island. Listen, if you've never been to Cat Island, you're in for a treat, So the theme for this year is Rakers and Scrapers. You know that? That's not much.
Not yet.
Well, you're about to learn. So, tell us, you've been involved with GGYA for how many years?
Actually, GGYA is in the Bahamas, but in different countries we would have it by whatever the name is in our country. As in like Guyana, it's the President's Youth Award.
Oh, okay, all right.
And other countries would have their different names.
Right.
Yeah, but so far it's been 4 years for me.
4 years.
4 years.
All right. But this goes beyond high school, I would imagine. It can start in high school and go beyond.
Yeah.
So 4 years, is this your first expedition?
No, it is not.
Okay, all right, you're like, okay, but you're looking forward to it.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, definitely. Barbados!
Yes.
That's the country down there. So you've been involved with, is it also called?
No, in Barbados, it's the Duke of Edinburgh's International
That's
Award.
right, Duke of
Yeah.
Edinburgh's, yeah. Okay.
I started coming on to the end of my secondary school life. I heard about the award, but I never knew what it was because a lot of people, because of the name being award at the end, they think it's something prestigious and only for the elite. So I was at school, it's one of the top schools in Barbados, but even at school there are different levels of persons. There's a really, really smart person, then there are others. So I thought it was for those really smart persons. So for majority of my school life I heard about it, but I didn't actually go and seek what it was about until coming on to the end of my school life. I was just in the classroom, and the teacher says to me, "You're either here for my meeting or you're leaving."
What's the best part of this so far for you and your experiences in Barbados?
It's seeing young people grow.
Right.
It's just seeing them grow. You see them coming at the beginning, they're all in their own specific countries, and then by the end of CAST, there's like just one big family, and as we tell them, they're going to be tears at the end, and not tears because it's been so hard. It's these friendships that you've made.
Right. Forever.
Forever.
Karan, what has been the best part of it for you personally?
The best part for me would have been I would have been able to learn like different skills, like a bit of Spanish, a bit of tie-dye, and different stuff.
And just meeting so many
Meeting
different
so many
people.
different new people.
Yeah. Well, listen, you've taken on a leadership role in this. We
Yes.
head off to Cat Island when?
We do. We head off on Wednesday,
Okay.
which is the first. We leave on the 1st, and we arrive on Thursday, and it's a full-out expedition for the next 4 days.
How many persons participate?
We're averaging about 134. Well, there's 73 participants that are actually completing their award level. But their adults in general are about 135.
How many different countries?
There are 8 different countries.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, listen, congratulations. Enjoy Cat Island.
We will.
You say you head out on Tuesday, but you arrive on Wednesday.
Yes.
That's all like a mailboat to me.
Wednesday, yes, it is. It's going to
Listen,
be an
guys,
experience.
have a wonderful time. So glad you came and took the time to appear here on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Yes.
All right, great.
Thank you.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We've been with GGYA, Duke of Edinburgh, President's Award. We'll be right back.
Shell is taking you on an exciting journey with its summer promotion. Now through September 14th, enter for your chance to win a brand new 2018 Toyota Yaris. Just make a minimum purchase of $20 worth of fuel from any Shell service station in Nassau. Answer the skill question on the entry form and submit. The grand prize will be drawn on September 14th. Other weekly prizes include free fuel vouchers and VIP packages to see Jay-Z and Beyonce live in concert August 31st at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. For more info, visit their Facebook page at Sunoil Bahamas.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Ballin' by the Beach is a basketball camp for boys and girls starting today at Sir Kendall Isaacs Gym. And we're going to be talking about it with Mr. Rel Mullings, who's the founder of the BBDB camp, Mr. Tim Lewis, who's the head coach for women's basketball at Montreat College in Asheville, North Carolina. And we've got Ms. Candace Walker, who's the head coach of women's basketball at St. Thomas University in Miami, Florida. A wonderful contingent of people here to see the talent in our young people, and we're very happy to welcome you all to Bahamas at Sunrise. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely a pleasure. I love to see when we have the opportunity to showcase our talent to the world, and that seems to be what this camp is going to do. So I want to get started right away by finding out what ages are the camp open to, and I know it starts about now, but is there still an opportunity for someone to register if they didn't know about it before today?
Yes, well, the camp is open for boys and girls ages 5 through 18.
Okay.
There's still a window of opportunity for them to register, but it'll have to be in person.
Okay.
We closed online registration no later than 11 p.m. last night.
Okay.
So, and can you believe there were still people registering?
I'm
like
sure
the last one came in at about
10:59.
Right, exactly.
The Bahamas, definitely, definitely. All right, so if there was, by some chance, they got there at exactly 11 o'clock on the dot and registration was closed, they can still come in this morning, but they've got to be early about it because certainly you want to make sure that things are in place to continue on what's about to be an awesome training camp. How long has the camp been going on?
Well, this is our 9th year. We started in 2010. And when we started, it was an all-girls camp.
Okay.
Naturally, I'm a former women's basketball player.
Okay.
So I started the camp for girls so that they can have an avenue. But since then, this is our 2nd year with the expansion to include boys because my friends, people in the community go, why can't the boys come? I have to drop my daughter and take my son somewhere else. So we implemented that last year.
Okay. What are some of the things that you guys are excited about learning? Well, you're excited about the campers coming in to learn from you and seeing from them.
Well, for me personally, this is my first year doing it.
Okay.
I've had the pleasure of Darrell reaching out and asking me to come help out with the camp. So I'm just excited about giving back.
Okay.
I coach, as you mentioned, at St. Thomas University in Miami, but this is just another opportunity for me to give back to the youth.
Okay.
I grew up in basketball, and having those coaches, going to these kind of camps, and just to be able to spread knowledge to a different group of people than I'm used to. It's exciting for me, so I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, what about you, Coach?
I'll start off with the Bahamas. Second time down here.
Okay.
Jarrell invited me last year. I enjoy your country.
Okay.
So for me, it's like a workplace situation.
Definitely.
I live in the mountains of North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So we're a lot further from the beach. And to be able to, we went to Compass Point last night. Shout out to Compass Point.
Okay.
Enjoyed the food. and the scenery too. But it's an opportunity to get back to the young people here.
Okay.
Growing up as a young person, I never had the opportunity to go to a basketball camp. So now I'm being able to see it from this side of things. Very fortunate to be able to give back to the young people.
All right, so this is your second year. Did you notice any particular talent last time or skill sets that you want to work on a bit more this year than you did last year? Anything about the camp that you want to do differently with the young men this time around?
Yes, I guess I'll say one thing. You guys are very athletic down here. You guys got some hops, all right? No matter where you go and you do basketball camps or do camps all around the world, you still want to brush up on those fundamentals. I saw some talent last year, a couple of young players. I think one of them, I forget his name, remember he's a big guy. He's getting a lot of interest now. Kai Jones, big guy.
Okay.
And I look forward to seeing how he's developed, if he's able to be here this year.
Okay.
And just looking forward to build on to what we did last year. To help Jarrell keep on building the awareness of the sport and the teaching of the fundamentals here in our country.
Yeah, I like that fundamentals, right? So I've never been athletic myself, but I love sports, and so for a long time I would work at our basketball games in Grand Bahama, kind of doing the scoring and just being around the team as like a team manager. And I always would watch teams that succeeded year after year focus on the fundamentals. And we have a lot of kids that, they love YouTube, so they want to hop and dunk and that type of thing. But it seems to be the fundamentals that really get you through. Certainly, athleticism is excellent, and some of these players will go on to play at college level, some may not. But why is it so important that this camp is open? What are the other life skills that you think kids are learning, Jarrell, every year that you do this camp besides the basketball?
Well, our core values, we ball, that's the acronym for our core values: work, endurance, believing, aspiring, living, and learning. So each day, in addition to the fundamentals of basketball, we focus on one of those keywords. Outside of that, trying to develop them holistically. We also prepare them, we educate them on more than just on-court stuff. We talk to them about off-court, because student athlete, that's how I see them, Bahamian student athletes. So I try to build that awareness and give them tidbits of information just to whet their palate, to engage their curiosity about using basketball as a vehicle to further their education. So I give them information about recruiting, how to become a college athlete. If you look at our registration form, it's not just about the sports. I have academic components on there. What's your GPA? What's your SAT score? And sometimes they come to me, they don't know what those things are. So that starts the conversation for that, because basketball is fun. It's great. It keeps you healthy, but I want them to be able to use it as a vehicle for other opportunities out there.
What time do you start today?
Well, the camp starts at 9. Registration starts promptly at 8. So our team is on the ground already getting everything set up.
All right. Well, listen, we're so happy to have had you guys with us. Ms. Walker, I'm going to give you the last word. What can kids expect when they come out today? What is the thing that they're going to take away, come from this camp, having met you, having met Coach Tim, having interacted with Jarrell and her team? What is the takeaway from this camp?
Just a total experience. A total experience. We want them to have fun, but we want each kid that is attending our camp to leave this week at least learning one thing. At least being able to improve on one skill that they didn't come in with. And I think that's a goal that we all share. At the end of the day, we want them to have a good time, but we want it to be a learning experience as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for waking up this morning after Compass Point last night. I'm sure it was tough, but you did it. And we know that the kids are going to have a great time. We're so grateful that you guys came in to bring your talent to the country. And we hope that you'll get to see some talent as well.
Thank you.
And Jarrell, thank you for continuing to work with young people. 9 years is not always easy, but you've certainly done it. So congratulations to you. And we look forward to only great things happening because you've been on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
BDC Living is a collection of unique home decor stores in Nassau. We have stylish furniture and accessories to suit all tastes and budgets. Visit East Bay Street for unique furniture pieces and coastal accessories. Our West store in Old Fort Bay is home to design-focused gifts, accessories, and custom upholstery. The home store at AIP carries really useful household essentials. Check out our website, bdcliving.com, for location details.
How are we making Rev work wonders for you? We are doing it together. You told us what you want, and we've heard you. Want faster broadband? How about speeds up to 1 gigabit per second? Want shorter house calls? 2 hours max. We promise. Want to take your entertainment anywhere? Well, your RevGo Play app is here. Rev, we've heard you. You speak, we listen. Rev, you and us together.
So who really own the Nassau Container Port?
Boss, that's easy. The government.
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
I do.
I do. And one day, he will too.
I do. Knock knock.
Here at the Nassau Container Port, we've diversified our ownership to give hardworking Bahamians a piece of the economic pie. And we'll continue to grow so that we can give you a consistent return on your investment. That's our promise.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Even if we are following a criminal case closely in the news, we may not understand fully all the aspects of the legal proceedings. We continue the conversation this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise with the Director of Public Prosecutions, Mr. Garvin Gaskin. Thank you very much for staying with us and elaborating a little bit more on the role and, of course, the prosecution of criminals. When we talk about a criminal prosecution, what is the procedure from arrest to what we see within the media to conviction?
Well, there's an investigation, usually by the Royal Bahamas Police Force. During that investigation, we've implemented a system where they would consult with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and after that consultation and the investigation is complete, then a charge is recommended. Okay. Once that charge has been recommended, the next step is to be placed before the court. That court is usually the magistrate's court. Once you get before the magistrate's court, if it's an indictable offense, you are essentially placed into what is called a preliminary inquiry, right, where you don't enter a plea. So there's not a situation where you plead guilty or not guilty at that stage. What we have done for efficiency purposes is we proceed with a voluntary bill of indictment. And so what happens is a date is set in the magistrate's court for the presentation of that VBI, that we call it. Once the VBI is presented, the individual is committed to the Supreme Court, so sent upstairs. And then once he is arraigned in the Supreme Court, meaning that is definitely when he says guilty or not guilty, then an appropriate period thereafter, a trial is fixed, and then the matter is tried.
And when we talk about moving on to the next step, obviously we hear often about people who get bail. What exactly is bail and who is eligible for it?
Bail is essentially an order, a grant of freedom to some extent with conditions to reappear at your trial date. So instead of being remanded at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services, you are given the ability to move about with terms and then ultimately appear in court for your trial. Right?
And oftentimes we hear this process of appeals. I imagine that would happen after a judgment has been made. An individual has an opportunity to go through this process.
Right, and an appeal is essentially a review by a superior court of the lower court's decision. And so there are time periods and certain criteria within which you have to comply, but it's essentially a part of the due process, giving that individual the ability to test what has been determined at the lower court level.
The police obviously play a critical role, not just in terms of crime fighting, crime prevention, but also in adjudication of the law. How closely does your team or does your office work with the police?
Yeah, I alluded to it earlier. We have a very close relationship. it's critical to get it right in the beginning, not during. And so that's our aim. Fix all of the deficiencies, the defects, most of the material that is required for an effective prosecution, get it on the file at the early stages, quite frankly, prior to charge. It doesn't always happen. You have forensic material, DNA testing that unfortunately many times has to go abroad. But for the most part, that relationship bodes well because, like I said, the T's are crossed and I's dotted early.
When we talk about getting persons to trial when they would have been charged with an offense, how quickly or what's the process? Because, you know, it seems as though sometimes it does take a minute for persons to get to trial.
Yeah. It's a complex situation. There are quite a bit of factors. There are a lot of matters that are laid before, particularly the Supreme Court, and then one has to prioritize. Do I go with this sexual offense, which is very sensitive, the complainant or the alleged victim, very young, or do I go with this murder trial that obviously involves a death of another? So it's a tough situation, and I think all of the players, the judges, the prosecutors, defense counsel, I think there are present realizations that, you know what, we have to get it right, but we press on.
So is that a collaborative decision, or?
Yeah, they're case management hearings, and case management hearings help in sifting out what the issues are, how many witnesses are you going to call, are you willing to what we call stipulate, meaning agree, rather than calling this witness that is not necessarily contentious. We can have that evidence admitted by agreement, and that does away with the half-hour dealing with that particular witness.
Okay. Are there other things that we can do to improve the efficiency of the system? Do we need more courts? Do we need more judges?
I am very hopeful that we can have a sexual offenses court. I find that where you have alleged victims going through long periods of you know, no trial of the issues, it in my view, it doesn't bode well. I think there has to be also more effective case management hearings where we dive deeply into what the issues are, and I think it would cause a more deliberate and focused driven trial.
And if we do that, you think that there's a possibility that we can get all persons who would have been accused to trial within 12 months?
There are some matters that are tried, believe it or not, within the year. Again, we certainly welcome more prosecutors, we welcome more judges, but we also know that if there are going to be a goodly number of murders every year, armed robberies, attempted murders and so forth, you're going to find that if you're not looking to other cures, right, instead of detection and prosecution, maybe prevention and other measures, we're going to always have a pile-on. And so I think we have to be creative.
One final question as we look to, I guess, the state and the status of the Bahamian society. How, you know, from your vantage, how do you feel, generally speaking, about where we are with regards to crime nationally?
There's room for major improvement, and like I indicated earlier, there has to be different ways that we address the problem. One way, two ways of addressing the problem. I don't know if that's going to be effective. It's insufficient, and so I believe wholeheartedly in the Christian faith. I think that the church is important, family is important, mentorship, you know, setting examples. All the players need to play a role. All hands on deck.
Okay, absolutely. Many pieces. One puzzle.
Indeed, indeed.
Thank you very much for joining us at Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this segment of Bahamas at Sunrise. We've been with the DPP. We'll be right back.
Can a simple thing like drinking alkaline water make you healthier? The answer is yes. Crystal Clear H2O alkaline water is loaded with antioxidants and helps soothe acid reflux, improves your energy and metabolism, cleanse your colon, and neutralize acid in the blood. With our high pH levels, it's perfect for those with health issues, and it's affordable too. Drink your way to better health with Crystal Clear H2O. Live it, love it, drink it.
I always wanted to come back to the College of Bahamas. I wanted to be a faculty. When the opportunity came for me to be Vice President of Operations, I said, well, let me try that first. It makes me proud because I was here before. I feel as if now I'm sort of like a beacon for those students who are here to say, hey, listen, I can actually be a Vice President. I can actually be one of the big leaders at the university. I'm Ronnie Stevenson, and this is my UB.
Apply today at www.ub.edu.bs.
Wait, that's Omar Little from The Wire. You think everyone is Omar from The Wire?
Wow, it's really nice to meet a fan.
It's like he's right here. Are you telling you he's been in all type shows and stuff?
And you know, Rev Go Play plays a lot of good movies and TV shows.
Excuse me, can't you see we're watching something else? Rude.
Settle all your pop culture disputes with Rev Go Play. Watch, record, and stream all your favorite shows wherever you are. Free for all Rev TV subscribers. Rev, you and us together.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are continuing on with the second half of a fabulous show on this marvelous but wet Monday.
Dead vet. Dead vet. But, you know, again, listen, anytime you have an opportunity to wake up, whether it's raining outside or not, even if it's raining inside, you know, you got to give God thanks. One of the good things about, you know, I guess the job and you know, being more public of that. So I ran into this young lady. Actually, no, an older lady in the food store. And she was like, you know, she's like, you know, so now I'm just like, okay, Bahamas is Sunrise. So she's like, yes. She's like, yes. And she's like, you know, you have a really good TV voice. And I was like,
yeah, she didn't tell me
very
what
good
to say.
TV voice, you know.
No, he's not used to that. He wants everybody to tell him he's handsome.
Well, no, you don't have to tell me that, but, you know, it's like, what exactly was she trying to say? You know, you got a really good TV voice, you know. It's like, all right, okay.
Well, at least she didn't tell you you have a face for radio.
Right, well, that's true. It had been worse.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse. Listen, we've got more to come in the second half. Going to be finding out about some more land opportunities for you in Grand Bahama. Certainly some really good real estate deals there at this time, so we're going to explore that for you. Then I'm going to be talking with Rupinder about the economy, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Definitely. But before we do any of that, Godfrey is going to tell us whether or not this wetness is going to last all day. And is it throughout the islands of the Commonwealth? Here's Godfrey Burnside's second look at weather at sunrise.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Phil. Good morning, Mohammed. Yes, second look at weather sunrise. And yes, Phil, it's going to be wet across the northwest Bahamas. You're a part of it. And, you know, start with Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama will get a whole impact of this over the next several days. First, the tropics. The tropics remain quiet and tropical storm formation expected during the next 5 days. And local scene to the northwest of the islands, Grand Bahama and Bimini, still have that mid to upper level trough that's triggering showers and thunderstorms across the islands. Then to the south of us, moving towards the northwest, we have an upper level low that's moving towards the islands. That with the moisture will continue to have some showers and thunderstorms, particularly in the northwest and central islands over the next 48 hours. In the marine forecast, we have a question posted. Winds stable along southeasterly at 15-20 knot seas, 4 to 6 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas. East to southeast at 15-20 knot seas, 4 to 6 feet over the southeastern islands. That will continue through tomorrow. And then by Wednesday, those winds become east to southeast at 15-20 knot seas, 4 to 6 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas. Easterly at 15 to 20 knot seas, 4 to 6 feet over the southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide at 9:14 this morning. Your next low tide will be at 17 minutes past 3 this afternoon. High again tonight at 9:31. Sunset at 7:54 this evening. Rises tomorrow at 6:37. UV index 9. Your water temperature 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And the moon phase, full moon. Extended look. We're going to keep the clouds through Wednesday. And then by Thursday and Friday, some clearing up, some sunshine around. And by Saturday, some showers comes again across the islands. Temperature daytime will be in the low 90s, but it'll feel like the lowest 100s, and then at nighttime, those temperatures will drop into the upper 70s. That puts you up in your phone. Look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. The Department of Statistics has released some preliminary results from their most recent labor force survey. Here to discuss some of the results with us is economist Rupert Pinder. Good morning, Mr. Pinder, and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
It's been a while.
Long time, eh?
Long time no see, but it's so important to have you with us as an economist to just shed some light on what's been happening. Certainly we know that this government has been in for a year now. They've come in with this very strict plan. They talk about reducing spending, bringing us out of debt, lots of conversation about the national budget. And in the midst of all of that, you have these issues of employment, right? The people who you obviously represent and who you need to grow the economy. So I want to get started by first talking about the job side of things, and then we'll take a look at what's happening with the economy elsewhere. Preliminary results from the recent labor force survey indicate a 2.3% increase in employment, but simultaneously, the discouraged workers category have also increased. For the layman like me, what does that mean?
Well, okay, let me do the best I can in terms of explaining that. Well, first of all, to the extent to which the size of labor force has increased, you said in terms of more persons are employed. But bearing in mind that every year you have a few thousand people who are graduating from school, so which means that the rate of growth of the labor force has to even surpass that for you to have a dent in terms of the unemployment numbers. So certainly from that standpoint. The discouraged work, it's interesting that you mentioned, I think there's been a 6.9% increase in the number of discouraged workers. And simply put, the discouraged workers are simply those persons who have dropped out of the labor force. So they're no longer considered to be unemployed or employed. They're no longer considered part of the labor force. And typically what happens is that these are persons who feel that there's very little prospects for them in terms of finding employment, usually. And that's a very important number to look at. One of the things here is that these definitions in terms of unemployment are defined by the UN, right? And usually the unemployed are considered to be persons who are obviously not working, but actively searching for work within 3 weeks of the reference period. So if you're not actively, by way of newspaper searches, etc., you're not considered to be part of the labor force. And so, these are not Bahamian defined as per the Bahamas, but these are really UN definitions in terms of unemployment. And so that's a very important number that usually most statisticians and economists look at, and that's the number of discouraged workers.
Wow. So when we consider the fact that has gone up just by 6.9%, what does that say for the state of the nation? I mean, is there a way that we see discouraged workers sometimes moving out of that category and back into the labor force? I know, for example, the labor minister has been doing a series of town meetings, etc., going into communities, trying to get people registered. Is there a way for us to kind of shift that pendulum back?
Well, it's interesting because I think a lot of the issues that we are faced with, whether it be debt problem, the fiscal deficit, obviously, which is linked to that, etc., a lot of these things can be addressed by way of growth within the economy, right? And so growth, in my view, is a panacea for a lot of these things that are happening. However, because don't forget now, we're coming out of periods where we've had significant downturn in terms of the economy, right? We've had periods in terms of negative growth rates. And you find that even in the United States, even when the economy starts to rebound in the United States, there have been periods whereby, although you've had relatively strong growth rates, the unemployment numbers was relatively stubborn. Because again, a lot of it really depends in terms of the posture of the business community. So sometimes even when the economy is growing, if there's a lot of uncertainty with respect to the business community, that can have a dampening effect in terms of unemployment numbers. For example, one of the things, and I guess it's still relatively early to say what will be the overall results. for example, the increase in VAT from 7.5% to 12%, already, I mean, you're hearing some businesses say, well, okay, well, there's been a slight downturn in terms of sales. I think Abaco Markets, I think, was one of the more recent examples of that. And one of the things that they said is that, hey, look, we're going to hold back in terms of any future expansion until we see how this thing is going to pan out.
Yeah.
So it may be, let's say, 3-6 months down the line before businesses maybe see, well, okay, is this really having an impact on my business? And again, these sort of things can affect employment numbers. Yes.
Yeah. So when we consider that $20 million IDB loan for job creation, will this help in any way? I mean, certainly it's $20 million, so you would hope that in some way it had some sort of impact. But how will that actually play out?
I mean, you know, again, I mean, again, I mean, just like you, I mean, you know, looking at perhaps excerpts from the news, from what I know, it's more or less in terms of skills training, right? To provide persons, obviously, in terms of the records of skills, etc. Because one of the things is that the business community, I think, have been screaming for a long time that a lot of persons who are coming to them obviously don't have the records of skill set. So, again, it's one thing to provide the skill set, but it's another thing to be able to have a match in terms of the amount of vacancies. And it's interesting that you've mentioned in terms of the jobs training initiative, etc. Because one of the things that was pointed out by the Department of Statistics is the increase in youth unemployment, right? And I think they've defined youth in terms of being ages between the ages of 15 to 24, right? And again, that's also a significant number to look at as well, because again, you're talking with persons who are young people, you know, in terms of the more productive periods within their lives, and so you want to find that you're able to find that they're engaged.
You know, it's interesting because then you look at somebody who was 30, and I know a lot of people in my generation who don't buy houses or go to the bank for anything, and you wonder about that reduction from the banking sector. But if you've not been able to work between 15 and 24, then you recognize that it all plays into the same notion of the economy. Another conversation for another time. But before we go, the government has been saying that we are strong and stable in terms of the economy. Would you agree?
Well, again, you know, that's we've obviously made some adjustments in terms of expenditures, which is good. But on the other hand, you know, I'm obviously a proponent in terms of cutting the fat, as they say, within the budget. But at the same time, too, there's a limit in terms of how far we can go in terms of cutting as relates to employment opportunities, right? Because again, I mean, that has another unintended consequence. And again, I think we also have to be careful to the extent to which we look in terms of how far we want to go in terms of taxing.
Right.
You know, yes, we do need the revenue, but more importantly, it's important that this economy grow.
Okay. Well, a lot to talk about, Ms. Brenda. I wish we had you on for a longer time. So you'll have to come back again. Don't let it be so long next time. But thank you for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you, too.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be back with more after this commercial break.
Can a simple thing like drinking alkaline water make you healthier? The answer is yes. Crystal Clear H2O alkaline water is loaded with antioxidants and helps soothe acid reflux, improves your energy and metabolism, cleanse your colon, and neutralize acid in the blood. With our high pH levels, it's perfect for those with health issues, and it's affordable too. Drink your way to better health with Crystal Clear H2O. Live it, love it, drink it.
Shell is taking you on an exciting journey with its summer promotion. Now through September 14th, enter for your chance to win a brand new 2018 Toyota Yaris. Just make a minimum purchase of $20 worth of fuel from any Shell service station in Nassau. Answer the skill question on the entry form and submit. The grand prize will be drawn on September 14th. Other weekly prizes include free fuel vouchers and VIP packages to see Jay-Z and Beyonce live in concert August 31st at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. For more info, visit their Facebook page at Sunoil Bahamas.
BDC Living is a collection of unique home decor stores in Nassau. We have stylish furniture and accessories to suit all tastes and budgets. Visit East Bay Street for unique furniture pieces and coastal accessories. Our West store in Old Fort Bay is home to design-focused gifts, accessories, and custom upholstery. The home store at AIP carries really useful household essentials. Check out our website, bbcliving.com, for location details.
Welcome back. With some 2,000 prime lots available for sale, the Grand Bahama Development Company wants you to consider land ownership in Grand Bahama, especially Lucaya. Here's our northern correspondent, Dr. Monique Pratt, with that story.
DevCo, the Grand Bahama Development Company, is responsible for master planning the land zoned for commercial, tourist, and residential use within the city of Freeport. They have a host of affordable lots available in Lucaya, and today we're going to discuss some fabulous opportunities for land ownership with Mr. Charles Pratt. He's the Senior Manager of Sales and Commercial Development, and Mrs. Christine Vanderlinde. She's the Customer Service Manager. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Mr. Pratt, I'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about some subdivisions of DevCo has in Lucaya. Can you give us some information about that?
Sure, I'm happy to. The Grand Bahama Development Company, we use the acronym DevCo, and DevCo stands for Developing and Expanding Your Vision by Creating Ownership.
Oh, that's nice.
And we say you can embrace the opportunities that embrace ownership here in Grand Bahama. DevCo has over 2,000 fully serviced properties available for sale to the general public. The properties start at an average of $25,000 for a third of an acre in any number of our 40 subdivisions in the Lucaya area. We offer easy access to ownership through our term arrangement payment plan.
So you have in-house
term arrangement plan. Yes,
wow. That makes it convenient for
very convenient, and it is as little as 10% down. And you can do a term arrangement payment plan over 5, 7, or 10 years. And you can pay off early without any penalties.
Oh, wow. Good.
Yep. And also you save on legal costs because our in-house legal team will prepare all the documents from original title deed to conveyance for you once you have completed your payments, either through the payment plan or if you decide at some later to go to a financial institution and have it paid off from DevCo.
Oh, wow. That sounds good.
We have a lot of opportunities. I also want to add that in March of last year, 2017, the shareholders / principals of the Grand Bahama Development Company recognized that our pricing mechanism may have been out of line with the level of disposable income in the Bahamas. Right. And so what we had done was basically an analysis of the market, and that resulted in us adjusting our pricing mechanism, which resulted in a down adjustment of about 40% of the prices of the properties in Grand Bahama.
$25,000 is still a lot of money, so for some people. So I mean, is there anything a little cheaper, or it depends on the size of the property, or?
Well, you're right. You're absolutely correct. It depends on the size of the property. It depends on the location. For example, a canal property would cost more, obviously, than an interior lot. Single family property would cost less than a multifamily property or a duplex property. And incidentally, we have all of those type of zonings or properties to offer to the general public. And all can be arranged through DevCo, or you can go through the bank. And we also provide that brokering service for you.
That's good.
So if indeed you have a lender that you prefer to finance property for you at DevCo, and you just want that smooth flow of information and to know whether or not you can qualify, our office, my office, handles all of that pre-assessment for you, and like that we can connect you with a lender who can hopefully finance the property for you.
That sounds good, because affordability and ease for the customers is critical.
Ease of access, for sure.
All right, so I have another question for you. Can you explain this concept about how Lucaya is considered to be a master planned area, and what does that mean for the Lucaya in general and the property value in Lucaya?
Wonderful. So the Grand Bahama Development Company is responsible, as you indicated earlier, for the master planning, the maintenance and development of what is known on the island of Grand Bahama as Lucaya area. Grand Bahama consists of Freeport / Lucaya. Lucaya is the area east, in the eastern section of Grand Bahama, and it consists of multiple thousands of acres of undeveloped land in some instances, and then land has full infrastructure service.
Right.
So
this is like beachfront properties. This is like a commercial within Lucaya itself.
Yes.
Some on the canal, so
Right.
different properties.
Exactly, and you're speaking right now to the master planning that you asked earlier. So we have areas that are specifically planned to house residential. And in the residential category would be the single family lots, the duplex lots, the multifamily or the multifamily high-rise. In the commercial side would be the tourist commercial properties that we have in DEFCO. So in that planning by DEFCO as the master developer of the Lucaya area, we call that the master plan. And what that does is that ensures that if Dr. Pratt invests in property in the Colony Bay, which is a canal subdivision, and which is zoned residential, that she is assured that there won't be a liquor store open up on the side of her, or a gas station across the street, and what have you. And we also have what is known as construction guidelines for these respective subdivisions and minimum house size and different type of landscape requirements. And all this, again, lends to value appreciation of your investment.
And that's very important for families and different things. You want to be next to like a liquor store, so that's really important.
So,
for
that lends to value appreciation for your, what would probably be one of the largest single investment anyone ever makes is in property and in their home.
Okay, it's good to know. Great, good information.
Yeah.
Now, what about the beachfront properties? Are there any for sale right now? We have a beautiful backdrop here. We're here, in Grand Bahama, which I love, the land of my birth. But any beachfront, they're expensive. I mean, so any type of packages or deals or availability for beachfront properties? I never live on the beach, so it doesn't really pertain to me, but other people want to know how can they live on the beach and
thank you for that question.
Inexpensive cost.
Thank you for that question, a lovely spot. So what we do have as it relates to beachfront property is really now zoned for tourist commercial.
Okay.
So beachfront.
Can you explain that?
But tourist commercial means that it allows for boutique hotels, for in some instances high density residential condominium complex. And right now DEFCO would have just completed a master development plan of sections of its undeveloped land to determine the best and optimum use of that land. So we would have brought into that planning process Ernst & Young, as well as EDSA, these EDSA being the town planning spatial company, and Ernst & Young is an international accounting firm. So they merged the economics and the income availability, and EDSA merged with the spatial planning, and given the current situation, and they did a projection 5, 10, 15 years out to see how best can we develop these properties that we have now for the building of the economy for Grand Bahama and by extension the Bahamas. And so that plan was completed mid last year, and we use that now to guide us for the development, especially of our prime property, which is the beachfront property that you described.
Oh, nice.
But we do have canal properties that that individuals can access through, again, the easy term payment repayment plan, as well as interior lots in any type of zoning, single family, duplex, multifamily. And so, again, 2,000 fully serviced properties, and we have more land to provide infrastructure to.
So Mrs. Christine Bandolinda, I have a question for you. Tell us a little bit about LUSCO and some of the programs and initiatives that you guys are doing with LUSCO.
LUSCO is the Lucaya Service Company. It is our maintenance arm of the development company. And what we basically do is keep Grand Bahama, Lucaya, clean.
And definitely is a clean place.
Yes,
definitely.
That's very nice.
I live here, so I know. I can vouch for that. Yes. What are some of the benefits for ownership in Lucaya? And I love living in Lucaya because I know it's like a nice area to live in for families, and the property value stays high. So in your opinion, what are some of the benefits for living in Lucaya, owning property in Lucaya area?
I think peace of mind.
Yes.
It is clean. It is structured. It's a beautiful place to raise children. I mean, your kids can go on the bicycles and ride.
Exactly.
I mean, you be there to observe, of course. But it is really a family-orientated island, and I don't think I would want to exchange it for anything in the world.
I agree with you. Okay, so lastly, how can people get more information about Lusco? First of all, I'll ask you about Lusco, or your website or phone numbers. How can they get more information about your particular contribution to the project?
Yes, before I go into that, I would like to remind everyone of our 25% discount that's still going on.
Wow, good. Good to know.
Some good news. You can, it's over a 3-month period. It commenced in June 1st till the 3rd of September.
Okay.
And if you have any arrears, any amount, just come in or call us, and we will be happy to work with you. And everyone is qualified for 25% discount. If you're current, we can't forget the current people.
Yes.
And if you're current, you get 3 years. That's 2019, 2020, and 2021. You get 25% off.
Okay, great. That's good to know. And so your website. How do we get this great information? How to reach you guys?
So Lusco is www.lusco.org, and that was recently launched in June. So we're certainly asking all of property owners to really log on to Lusco at www.lusco.org and register your contacts so you can be a part of any future initiative offered by Lusco. For DEFCO, you can visit us at www.gbdefco.com, or you can call us at 350-9096, 350-9000 DEFCO Sales. And
our telephone numbers are, that I'm competing
yes.
with my colleague. Yes. But our numbers are 350-9310 or 9311.
Okay, thank you both for joining us today on Bahamas at Sunrise.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in, having a powerful conversation here.
Powerful conversation.
The ways that we can improve our own economic standing. There are some ways out there, so get creative, and we hope that you'll apply that this week. We're going to see you on Friday.
Yes, have a wonderful week. Bye.